It's time for us to bring our next speaker to the stage. I could go on and on about her, but instead of me telling you about her, let her introduce us to her in her video.
I grew up in Baltimore, Maryland. I love science. I used to tinker when I was little, always trying to fix things. I had always had this fascination to be the first African-American astronaut. And my counselor said, well, you're really good in math and science. Why not try engineering? I had no idea what engineering was. And I had my first job as an engineer at General Electric in Philadelphia at that time. Worked for the company for about 9 years, and then the plant shut down. And so I decided that I would start a nonprofit organization to help other women who were brilliant, who wanted to go to school but just couldn't afford the child care. Because I remembered how hard it was for my mom to take care of the kids and pay the bills. She was a teen mom at the early age of 16. While I was working with the student moms, I would see them carrying their book bag and their diaper bag and sometimes their purse. And I said, you know what, I'm doing the same thing while I'm going to work. I'm carrying 2 or 3 bags. I said, maybe I can come up with a design to help alleviate, carrying so many bags. A lot of times when we have ideas, fear sets in. It was like, I don't know anything about making a bag. I don't know anything about manufacturing. Can I do this? And I really doubted myself. I was laying in the bed and I was looking up in the ceiling and I said, I don't want to wake up one day and wish that I had started this business. And so that was the defining moment for me. I bought a bag for $20. I can't sew, so I cut it up and I started stapling and taping things together. And I wanted the name Pinky Blue, but the domain was taken. So I liked the sound of Pinky Blue, so I literally went through the alphabets. I said, Linky Blue? No. Minky Blue, and that's just how it came about. I was introduced to the particle space, which is a part of the entrepreneurship program at the String Theory School.
For us to be able to house companies like Minky Blue, it gives our kids an opportunity to work with a real company that's doing really innovative things in a sector that's applicable and relevant right now to kids' lives, which is fashion.
Knowing that my work helps Ms. Sherrill sell her product, I never thought that would happen. I never thought that it would be used as a business technique.
Anytime we have an idea to start anything new, in order to be successful with that, we first have to believe. It's all about believing in your abilities to create something amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's bring to the stage, sponsored by the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, let's say hello to Sherrill Mosee.
I feel glorious, glorious, got a chance to start again. I was born for this, it's who I am, I couldn't forget. I made it through the darkest.
Well, it's an honor to have you here on the Catalyst stage, and there were a number of things that were in your video. So why don't we get to it real quick with some of these questions. Now, you mentioned a word in your video that a lot of us can relate to.
Yeah.
And that's fear. Why don't you tell us a little more about that?
Yeah, fear. I think that, once we understand what fear is, the purpose of fear, we can kind of get through it. So fear is about, keeping us from harm's way. It tells us not to touch the stove because we'll burn ourselves, and not to walk in front of a car because we could get hurt. And so once you identify what the purpose of the fear is all about, then you can kind of navigate your way through it. So fear of starting something new is about, getting in front of your fears and not having to go through life or just go through things and conquer all of those fears in anything that you're going to do.
So let's build on that just a little bit. So you have fear. You're sitting alone one day in your office or the space that you're trying to work in, whether you're at home. Do you find someone to help you? What did you do then?
Yeah, absolutely. When I thought about designing this bag, it was all about, really could I do this? And I remember it took me a long time to get past all of the fears. And I remember sitting in my room one day and I got up the nerve to talk to my husband about starting this business. And I said, I'm thinking about designing a bag because I think could be helpful for women as well as myself. And at the time, he looked at me and he said, do you really want to do this? And I said, yeah, I really believe I could do it. And he said, well, it's going to be tough. He said, Asia, our daughter, she's getting ready to go to college, and we already had a son in college. He said, are you sure you want to do this right now? And I said, yeah, I really believe I could do it. He said, well, it's going to be a sacrifice. You're going to have to give up a lot of things that you did. And I said, I can do it. And once I started, it was really hard. I faced a lot of challenges, a lot of failures. And I remember on the onset of starting this business, I actually got the manufacturing straight, and I received about 30% of the bags were defective. My husband and he agreed that we would take out a second mortgage on our home, so we lost a lot of money. And at that time, I really could have quit, but it was something inside of me that said, you cannot allow this failure, this challenge for you to quit. And so I decided at that moment that failing was better than quitting. And so I kept pushing past the fears, and things started to happen as I continued to push and grow my business. Great things were beginning to happen. I was able to get on QVC.com. I was on the Today Show, and I have 2 patents. And so I realized, had I quit at that moment, I would not have been able to see some of those successes.
Oh, that's great. So as an African-American small business owner, what's the biggest challenge you face in your business?
There's been a lot of challenges along the way, and I've been just pushing along on a shoestring budget. We lost a lot of money initially, and so putting money back in the business meant that I was selling bags and then putting back in the business and then taking that money and then manufacturing again. So I realized that I cannot continue to grow my business on a shoestring budget. In order to grow, I really need capital. I need to raise additional capital to continue to grow my business. And I recently learned that 0.2% of women of color have access to venture capital. And I'm feeling that right now as I try to grow my business. So that's my biggest challenge for the moment.
So given that challenge, what's next for Minky Blue, and how can we help?
So I have a lot of great things that's going on with Minky Blue right now. I have been invited by QVC to do an on-air showing, so I'll get to sell the bags on air on QVC, and they actually want to launch it in March 2020 for Women's History Month, so I'm excited about that. I also been invited by a company to put my bags in the airports regionally in the Philadelphia region. So I have a lot of great things that are going on right now.
Well, that's excellent. What about, let's talk about the bag. So
Yes.
What's so special about this bag?
So Minky Blue, I came up with the idea basically because I was the bag lady, and a lot of women I think can attest to that. So it was about separating items in the bag. We usually do one or two things. We have 2 or 3 bags to separate and carry our lunch, our purse, and all the other necessities. And then, or we'll have one big tote bag and we're digging at the bottom of the bag and we'll put our shoes in a plastic grocery bag and that's playing picky boot out of the tote bag. So basically what Minky Blue does, it allows me, if I wanted to, I can carry my lunch in this little insulated lunch bag here, and that sits very neatly in the bottom of the bag. So I have my lunch or my toiletries here and nobody knows what's going on. And then, or I can carry my shoes in the bottom of the bag. So I would love for everyone to support Minky Blue. We are accepting pre-orders, so you can actually go on minkyblue.com and do a pre-order. And then I would love for you to come and visit me at the shop upstairs, and we could do a little demo about how the bag functions. And then the other thing that I did is that I started a program to help other people who have an idea to bring a product idea to market, and that's at startupbyfaith.com.
Now, we saw a young lady, and I think that you have some young women that either you mentor or bring along while you're working with that. Can you tell us a little bit about that program?
Yes, it's an amazing opportunity to work with young people and sharing your ideas. I mean, we go through life and we have life experiences, and sometimes we keep that to ourselves. So I have an opportunity to share my business model. I have the students who work with me and they actually create the videos that you see on my website. So it's a way to give back and work with young people about entrepreneurship and businesses.
So somebody out here still, they've heard your story, they know it was tough, it was a struggle. They have an idea and they're thinking, I just can't do it, whether it's financially or just no one likes this but me. I mean, what would you tell them?
Never limit yourself because of other people's limited imaginations, and never limit other people because of your own limited imagination. And that is a quote by Dr. Mae Jemison, the first African-American female astronaut.
Now, we had a chance to talk a little bit, so we had some conversations prior to coming up here so I could get an idea about this bag. The next question for a lot of us, men's bags? I mean, what do we got going? You got something coming up for the guys?
I do in 2020. I've been peeping out and seeing what you've been carrying, Vaughn.
Oh, is that right? Yeah, well, I carry a lot of bags, let me tell you what. And people make fun of me. I got all kinds of backpacks and all kinds of different things, but that would be very, very helpful for us, too. We want to thank you for being here with us on the Catalyst stage. It's been a pleasure. Oh, I guess there's one other thing. So you and I have a little bit of a secret between us. I don't know how many people know it. Should we let them in on it?
Sure.
Okay, you want to tell them or you want me to tell them?
You could tell them.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is my aunt. And
I know, I look really young.
And we kind of been along for the ride ever since Minky Blue came up into existence. And so we thank you for giving us an opportunity to share this out here today. She was scared to death. I was going to call her by the name that I always thought she had when she married my Uncle George. And I'm glad because my Uncle George is here, so thank you for being here, Uncle George. And it was good that she could say things like, you supported her. So that was good, because if that came out differently, it was going to be a problem. But we do appreciate that, and we know that's a part of why Minky Blue is here today. Thank you, Sherrill.
Thank you so much, and thank you for
Glorious.